I want to talk to you today about boundaries. What, how does it work in terms of relationships? So, first of all, everybody has some sort of boundaries. Some have more broken ones, some have more established ones, but we all have some kind of borders. How we feel about things, where we start and where we end. So. The problem sometimes our boundaries are so broken, so the lines, if you think about like the boundaries, the lines are kind of blurred, we're not clearly, and then there's huge holes, in between. So like the other people sort of like, and if you think it's you, so some people can come in and uninvited, and really like you feel violated because when there should be some sort of like clear borders where you're at. So when people wanna march in, there is a wall that they cannot penetrate through. So and then like there's, let's say, like some window, and there is some maybe like a door in different places. So there's, let's say, there is another window. So the idea that somebody comes in, like, and wants your attention, and there is window. So and you have the boundaries established. So sort of like you can talk, but doesn't mean you invite them in. You can still somehow communicate, you can see each other, but it doesn't mean they have to come into your space. So and that's why the boundaries are important, that you would always feel safe with whomever you are, with whatever you do, that you would have a sense of safety and that you're not violated. And those boundaries has to be communicated, because if you think like there is like lots of people everywhere, like put it quickly, and then all over like people, like, and you're also somewhere there, but the boundaries are sort of like blurred. So you might cross people's boundaries without knowing, and you're getting people angry and frustrated, or they make you angry and frustrated. So technically boundaries are very necessary for successful long-term relationships. Then you won't feel abused, or you won't abuse others without even realizing that you're doing it. So that's why it's important to learn how those boundaries work. Because another thing, you'll start discovering that how the other people's boundaries are working. So uh, this is like you and the other people also have boundaries, and then you can come like from your door, and then you start recognizing that they also have boundaries, they have windows, they have doors, and then you agree how you come in. They invite you, and you ask them if you can come in. You don't just march in without any invitation. So that will help to establish actually correct relationships. And how it can look like in terms of like correct boundaries, like somebody comes in and wants to come to your home, it can be, like you always were saying yes, and you, because you felt obligated to say yes, because if you say no, you think you're going to destroy the relationship. That usually means you have lack of boundaries and you don't understand it. You can say yes and you have no problem sometimes saying no, and you have no problem saying no, because you feel, okay, this is, sorry, this is not a good time, but we maybe could meet at this specific time when it's suitable for you, or have a call, somebody call, you don't answer, it's like, I am not able to talk to you right now, but I'll be able to talk then. Or then it's like, sorry, I cannot right now communicate, I have different things going on. So this way you set certain boundaries. So like in the relationship, in the marriage relationship, that can be a little bit more trickier. So for instance, one person is maybe more uh maybe pushy or very like a stronger emotionally, another is more like retrieving, and so that can require, like, say, hey honey, like for instance, if the person is very intense, so it's like, hey honey, I really like, would like to have specific space. If you could agree that from like until like from now until 3 o'clock I'll have my own time, please don't enter, don't come in, and because I really need my space. So that's very important. And then when you communicate that, at first people might feel like, oh, what is this, what is happening, they might get frustrated, but you have to keep on saying like, hey, I really feel that you're violating my space. I really would like that, we agree when we can, like cooperate or do things together, but we can agree. So, and then when person learn to operate by agreement, then you can have your own personal space. Now that's very good, with the relationships whenever it's possible. But we have to also understand that, like in the family, when there is children, of course, children won't understand many times boundaries, and but probably it's also can be communicated when they're a little bit older. That they also learn that they have space, and but also to respect other. For instance, my father, he has his own workroom, and in the house, and it was his workroom, and we knew that it's workroom, and when he's working we shouldn't disturb him, because this about around this time he's doing his work. So, and we had to kind of learn to respect that even when we were quite young. So, and then we wouldn't sort of like disturb unless there was some really issues that needs to be dealt kind of immediately, but with some random little things we wouldn't disturb. So, and it depends, like of course, children has a way quicker access to you, but there are some people from outside, like if you think in your own house, so there is, like your family, and so they have like more easier access to you, but there is others, like might not have like so easy access. So then you have clear boundaries. Some people usually tend to cross over easily. Then, hey, sorry, I cannot speak. Sorry, I cannot do this right now. I have other things that I have to attend to. So really setting certain limits, but doesn't mean you cut them off. You're just putting certain limitations in terms of access to you. Because if some people, if you let them cross over you, they will cross over you because they just don't see. And sometimes I didn't see certain boundaries of other people, and when they put the boundaries, I respect that. I want that people say like, hey, no, sorry, I cannot do this now, but later maybe we can agree something. So that's always nicer when people actually show where they stand in things. Then you know how they actually feel about stuff. So, and you don't be afraid of sharing how you feel about things, where you stand. So then people start to respect that actually. And many times when people lack lack in boundaries, if you think there's walls, so people easily can come in and go out and take away, and the problem is that they won't that the tendency will be that they won't respect you, and not only that, they will take you for granted. So if you don't have clear boundaries, the tendency will be that people will take boundaryless people for granted. And then it can be that you start violating other people's boundaries, because when your boundaries are kind of blurry, then most likely for you, other people's boundaries also will be quite kind of blurry. So you might like run in, like, oh, this person done this and that, and then just burst out stuff without actually asking how they're doing. Is it okay to speak or to share, to meet? There will be similar thing how you many times treat how others treat you. Many times you tend to treat others as well. So that's important to build up these boundaries, that build up, stop not allowing any more people to march in, sort of like uninvited, and or like just learn to say no, and start building these walls, start establishing like with the doors, the windows, how you relate to people, and start changing it. And sometimes it will require to actually have other people to help establish boundaries, especially if there is some very forceful, like either in-laws or parents or brothers or sisters or friends or whoever who was violating those boundaries. They really won't like it at the beginning. So it will require to have maybe even support person who would help like to talk about these things. It's like really like to stand strong in the boundaries, that you wouldn't be sort of violated. And of course prayer helps a lot when you pray and asking God uh, what is actually true, because at first it feels like almost wrong to put the boundaries on people. You'll feel like, oh, I'm kind of like destroying relationship or something, but that's not true actually. It's very healthy in the long run. It's very healthy, and people who keep want to violate the boundaries eventually will leave, leave you alone, and then you'll be happy for it actually, and because they were there just to like um suck your life, rather than to have like equal or some sort of exchange, like in things. So that's very important in that sense, to have the boundaries, that there will be space for the right people, because people who are doing things correctly and they have their own boundaries, they will see if you have boundaries or not. If you have boundaries, they will respect you and they will want to deal with you, and they will want to do things together with you, because they know that they will be able to trust you. Because if you have the boundaries, they will know that you'll be able to do things successfully for a long period of time. And if your boundaries are not there, they will know that probably you'll have tendency to falter and maybe like withdraw or run away from certain situations, just because it will be too stressful, because you stamped over too often, and you don't know how to communicate it correctly when that happens. So it's very, very important even for success in life in general to have good boundaries. So this is a little bit about boundaries, what I wanted to share, and God bless you.